Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to talk about how it feels like coming back to writing again after a while, and what was the reason that stopped me from continue writing, or what was the reason that made me stop in the first place, and how it's like now after a few weeks, or let's just say few months, and to write again and come back to writing. So the reason that I had stopped writing was I felt sick, and then I did not really have any energy, any kind of motivation, not even motivation. I would just say I was just sick and I could not continue. And yeah, I decided to kind of stop and yeah, come back to writing after I feel better. And now I feel better. And yeah, so coming back to writing feels kind of weird because even though I was thinking about the story, and even though I was kind of watching movies or trying to, I was not really writing, but I was thinking about it all the time. And not all the time, but I was just say I was thinking about it very often. And coming back to it now did feel weird because if you think about something for a while but are not really doing it, but then you finally have, I would not really say the right, but just when you finally can do it, then it kind of feels weird. And that what just happened to me. And I was trying, like all the time, I was telling myself how exciting it is going to be, even though I did not really have any expectations from it. Um, but after like kind of sitting here and like trying to write, it felt rather weird than fun because I was not really as good as I was back then. I used to just, you know, kind of flow with the ideas that I had, like writing. But this time I had to really kind of sit down and just think before I could write, and I knew that it was going to happen to me, and I did not really have any expectations of the fact that I could write the way I did before I turned sick, and I could be as good as I was, but it just, sometimes you kind of still feel like it is not enough. So that's just what I felt, it was not, I was not really smooth as I was, and that's completely fine. I think accepting the fact that you're not really as smooth as you, or like as you were before you kind of stop for a while, is actually pretty good and pretty understandable and normal, because if you don't like, becoming better comes from repetition, and if you don't repeat something for a while and stop, you are not going to be as good as you were. You're not going to be as good as you were before you kind of, you know, after you quit, after you stopped. So I was not really expecting anything. I was just mostly thinking. Yes, I was just thinking about, random kind of scenes, or just how the story would continue, and just kind of making bullet points on a paper just so I could not really forget anything, just remember it. But just for me to kind of, it was kind of like a guide for me when I returned back to it, for me to return back to it and kind of look and know the overview of everything. But I think it was really good of me to stop writing, because I would be burnt out if I had not stopped. Because I was writing for 3 months. No, I don't even remember how many months it was. But I did write every single day. And over time you're gonna get burned out. So it's better to just stop for a while than, being sick and still writing and getting burned out and not really um writing for months. So I did really do think that I did a decent job with just stopping when I was sick, when I turned sick, and giving myself time, because it did help with with my health. And I think that I did come with new and better ideas because before, it was not as like I was failing with ideas or I did not really have any ideas. It was just that I did not really know how to continue the story before I turned sick, and that was kind of the point where I did not really know how to continue the story. So it was, I think, a very good timing, because in this 1 month that I didn't really write, I did get better ideas and just better ideas from, the things around me, like whether it's people or nature or just, all together things, because it just made me learn things and value, it just made me think better and get new ideas and present it in a better way. So I do not really regret anything, because first thing, I could never really stop me becoming sick, but I could stop, I could have stopped writing, and which I did, and I don't really regret anything. So yeah, I feel really, so yeah, I don't really know what to say about it, but right now, what I did, I kind of went deeper into every character. There was like a time where I was just skipping everything. Sometimes writing very short things, like a scene, that I wrote. I did it in a very like fast way and I finished it. And it did really need to kind of be more polished or kind of deepened. And I did not really do that. So after I kind of stopped, I was like reading my draft and I noticed that there are a lot of parts in my book that needs to be kind of deepened up, or just like I really need to add more like tension on all that. So that made me realize that I'm not that I need to kind of slow down with my writing, especially scenes, because if I don't, then I'm going to skip like important things. So yeah, it just made me value the real amount of focus that every chapter, every scene needs, and every one of those characters. So I made kind of like a character or like a mind map of the story, where I like, put everything that I knew about the story. And I kind of started to think more about the characters and all, and how maybe the story is going to end. And it made me learn more about the story than, I don't know, I could have really known. So it's really good to kind of start not really rushing things, just, it's really okay to be in a, like working on a chapter for a while and not really rush things, which I really used to do back. And I think that was one of my mistakes. So yeah, that just made me learn that rushing things while writing or while like doing other things, it's not really going to work out. And if you want to get a decent result of what you're doing, just be patient with it. And yeah, I really have to be patient with things and not really rush things. That was just what I was trying to say. But yeah, so the whole real kind of thing that I really, so the main thing that I wanted to say was that yeah, just an update of how I go back into writing, and yeah, how I go back into writing after a break, and how it's going to be easier with time once you start again, and it's never really too late to kind of write. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.